Are you ready to level up your relationship from a situationship or a friends with benefits thing? You want exclusivity, but you're not sure how to ask him? Well, stick around to learn the signs that he's ready to take the next step, and I'll tell you how to have the conversation with him. It's time for you to get the guy. Back when I was dating, I had a friends with benefits situation with a girl who I knew, and it was fun. We had a great time. There was a lot of laughter and friendship and sex and cuddles and everything. It was great. There was lots of things about that relationship that really worked for me. We went on dates, and the only thing that was really missing is that we didn't have that little label called exclusive. And she would see other people and I would see other people, but eventually that didn't quite work for me. This went on for a while, and I realized that I wanted to actually just date her. And I wanted that label of exclusivity for us to be a thing. But I was super nervous because I was afraid of saying something, and that if I did, it would ruin the good thing that we had going on. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to keep the friends with benefits without being honest about my feelings or saying something that may cause me to lose her. But every time that I tried to ignore the fact that we weren't exclusive also made me feel not so good. So I was really in a not great place. I looked to see if we were having deep, meaningful conversations with each other. These are conversations about the future, life goals, our morals, ethics, values, our belief structures. These were things that I was really looking for because it tells you that there's depth there. So think about, does your guy have conversations with you like this? Next, I noticed whether she was sharing more of her feelings with me or being more vulnerable. So for us, it looked a bit like if something truly was upsetting her, did she actually show me that she was upset? Or did she try and cover it up and laugh it off? This is another really good indicator as to whether or not you are going to go forward together, because if you're seeing more of that vulnerable emotion, if they're allowing you to see the weakness that maybe they're having after a really tough day, then that's a really good thing. So does your guy share his feelings with you? The last thing that I would really look for in the relationship that I was trying to cultivate was one-on-one time with just the two of us that was not spent doing friend things, but spent doing more date things to see if that went well. This again shows that we're able to get out of that friend zone and instead get into a place that is much more dating zone, exclusivity zone. So notice, does your guy spend that time with you just one-on-one with each other? If you have check marks in these boxes, that's a really good sign that he could be ready for a conversation about dating exclusively. Give me a thumbs up if your guy is scoring high on this checklist. So now that we've had the conversation about what to look for, let's turn this around and give you some tools you can have to level up your relationship and have the conversation that you want to have about exclusivity. First, focus on why you want to do it in the first place. Asking can be stressful, because we don't know what he's going to say when you ask him these questions. So what I want you to do is focus on the potential you see for the relationship. 2, find a good time, not the right time. There is no such thing as the right time. There are only good times and bad times. If you've just had a massive fight and aren't talking to each other, that's a bad time. Don't have this conversation then. However, after a nice date or evening together and he and you are snuggled up, that's a pretty good time to have the conversation because you just got to have a taste of what your exclusive dating life could be. Number 3, if he doesn't want to be exclusive, ask him why not. This is really important. I know this may seem like you're pushing, but here's the thing. If he says you aren't someone he sees himself with exclusively, you want to know why he says that. And sure, it might hurt to hear some of these things, but I'm going to tell you, and this is a bit of a secret, that knowing why is so important. This is not to guilt him or to make you feel bad, but to see if the answer is something that is fixable or not. And here's a secret. 99.9% of the reasons he might say are bullshit. And it's important that you hear him say it. If he says something to you of like, well, I just don't want to be tied down right now, or, I just see you as a friend, or, I'm just not doing the exclusive thing right now. Those are some pretty bullshit reasons. And it's important that you hear him say that to you, especially if he says something along the lines of, well, I don't see us being exclusive. Because now it's not a possibility. He's literally telling you right here and now, here's my reason, and my reason is kind of stupid. If that's the case, you may want to start looking elsewhere for a relationship, because clearly, if this stupid reason is the reason that he's not even attempting to have a relationship with you, then that tells you that he's probably not someone worth investing that time in. If you've ever heard a bullshit reason from a guy who didn't want to date, tell me in the comments below. Remember, you need to think about how important the conversation is to you. If exclusivity is important, then you need to bring it up. I have seen more people be upset about the fact that they didn't ask and lost their opportunity to date someone than those who asked and actually didn't get it. A lot of times people are filled with regret because they didn't ask, and you don't want to be that person. Now, I bet you're wondering how my story ended. I'll be honest, it didn't end up working out. We sat down and had a conversation together. I shared what I had hoped for, and she told me she didn't feel the same way. We realized we weren't on the same page and didn't have the same goals. We went back to being just friends, and even though it was a little painful and it hurt in the moment, it ended up being the best thing, because the next person I started dating ended up actually becoming my wife. And that is a much better and more successful relationship. The conversation, whether it ends up with you in a relationship with this guy or not, is worth having, because then you will know where you stand and you won't waste any more time in a situation that isn't right or isn't going anywhere. Remember that if you want to level up your relationship, you have to get in action. Don't get stuck in limbo waiting for him to make a move. Look for the signs he's ready, and you make your move. You've got this.